In this video of BobCAM for SOLIDWORKS, we will be discussing doing a simple lathe part. First, open your SOLIDWORKS program. Once your SOLIDWORKS program is open, we will navigate to the default directory of the examples in the BobCAM software. This directory is C drive, BobCAD Data, BobCAM v3 examples. If you did a custom installation, this will be a different directory. Open Computer, Local Disk C, BobCAD Data, BobCAM v3, Examples. We will then open the Advanced Turning Tutorial 1. Once the part is open, go into an isometric view. Open the BobCAM cam tree from the SOLIDWORKS Feature Manager. Condense the Milling Stock tab, and right-click Turning Stock. Click Edit so that we are able to define our turning stock. We will have a face Z of 0.1, a cutoff of Z of -4, end of stock for Z of -5, a stock diameter of 3, and this will be a pre-bored stock with an internal diameter of 1/2 inch. We'll leave our clearances alone and then click OK, and our stock geometry is defined. With the stock defined, we will add additional information about this part. This is done simply by right-clicking Turning Tools, and we can add tools, taps to the tapping table, we can assign tool holders, tool inserts, or go into current settings. First, we'll go into current settings to be certain that our NC file extension is set correctly, our machine tolerance are set correctly, posting information is set correctly if we need to have a different program number or sequence number, if we're adding comments. All of this can be entered in the current settings window. If we need to add a custom tool, simply right-click Turning Tools again and click Tools. We can add on additional information such as another tool and modify it to our needs. So if we want this tool to be a 35-degree tool with a cutting angle of 40, we can enter that in this window. Once everything is entered, simply click OK, and that creates the tool for us to use at a future date. To add taps to the tapping table, right-click Turning Tools and select the tapping table. We can add an additional group, add threads to a certain group if we need to add a thread under MC or MF, metric coarse and metric fine, or any of the others. We can add that in here. We can also modify to add the tap. Simply click Add Thread and enter the information. With it entered, simply click OK, and it will create the tap. And now we're ready to begin to machine the part. First, we will need to face the part, go to the BobCAM cam tree, right-click Turning Stock, hover over Turn, and then click Rough. Under Rough, right-click Geometry and click Reselect, and select the front face of the part. Once the front face is selected, click the green check mark. In the BobCAM cam tree again, under Feature Rough, right-click Rough and click Edit. We'll change this to a face rough operation with a depth of cut of 0.05. Since we're finishing to size, we'll have a Z and X allowance of 0. We'll go to our Rapids page. We'll leave our default rapid on. On our Leads page, since the geometry that was selected does not go to the very outside of the stock, we will need to add leads so that it will cut correctly. We'll add 1 under lead in for X and -0.25 for lead out of X. Under the rough tool, we'll leave the tool alone. We will not modify the nose radius or the cutting angle. We will add an RPM of 1500. The rough RPM of 500 is fine. The rough feed will change to 5. Under orientation, the top right quadrant is selected, so this is correct. We will then click OK, and our toolpath computes. If we right-click Turning Stock and click Blank, we can see our toolpath a little better. We'll go back into an isometric view. Now what we will do is define a rough operation that covers the outside of the part. Right-click the machine setup and hover over Turn, and click Rough. Right-click Geometry and click Reselect. We will want to have Primary Region Only selected so that it doesn't do the groove. We'll click the Select Whole Bodies and select the whole body of the part. Click the green check mark, right-click Rough, and click Edit. We'll be finishing this to size, so we'll have a 0, X, and Z allowance. The depth of cut will be fine. The rapids will be fine and the leads will be fine. On the rough page, we'll use the same tool as we did before. The orientation number, since we're doing an OD cut, is fine for this part, and our mock info is fine as well. We'll change the feed and speed to RPM, and again define 1500 with a 5 for rough feed. Once it's defined, we'll click OK again, and it generates the toolpath automatically. With the exterior rough defined, we will do an ID finish. We'll right-click Machine Setup again, hover over Turn, and click Finish. For the interior diameter, we will select the chamfer and the interior cylinder. Once it is selected, click the green check mark, right-click Finish and click Edit, and change this to a turning finish. We'll leave no allowance, but we will do multiple passes with the Finish tool. On the Rapids page, we'll leave the default rapid on exit selected, and same with the Leads page. On the Rough page, we will use a 35-degree tool angle with the same nose radius that is already specified. We will need to alter the orientation number so that it's doing an ID cut, and we'll leave it on CSS. We'll specify that the maximum RPM is 1500. Check the mock info page, and then click OK. If we rotate the part, we can see the ID cut. With these three operations defined, go into a top view, and if you'll notice, the groove is currently not being cut. This is because of primary region being selected when the geometry was selected for the rough operation. In this case, we will not be adding a grooving operation and simulating instead. Click the BobCAM at the top of the screen, and then select Lathe Simulation. When the Lathe Simulation comes up, simply click Play, turn off Initial Stock, and as we can see, we have the part roughed out. If we disable the workpiece, we're able to see what has been cut and what has not. Once this is done, click the X to exit out, and now all we need to do is post our code. This is done by right-clicking Turning Tools and clicking Post. This concludes this video.